Michelle Andrea Winters was 17 years old, stood 5 feet 4 inches tall, and weighed only 92 pounds. She was a petite blonde girl who had dropped out of high school and had been briefly employed at a pizza shop on North Atlantic Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. She had an older sister, Joanne, who was 19 and a college student. Her parents had a summer residence in Toronto, Canada, and her mother was a television producer. Michelle was painfully introverted and was described as awfully quiet by a teacher at Fort Lauderdale High School. Michelle gave the impression that she could work things out for herself, said a school counselor. By late 1975, she had become depressed about her life and wanted to join the Navy to escape her unhappy circumstances. She had moved out of her parents' home and into a small cottage on the beach called Copaloba Cottages at 409 South Atlantic Boulevard in North Fort Lauderdale. Michelle was living an isolated existence but had a friend, Jamie McGearno, who described Michelle as depressed. She thought no one cared for her, she said. She was trying to get a job with a family in Miami, taking care of their children. At the time, she was living in the cottage with her sister Joanne until her sister returned to college in Tallahassee. Michelle had been fired as a waitress in December 1975 after working for 3 weeks at Conk's Raw Bar on South Atlantic Boulevard. She was a poor employee who complained of frequent chest pains. She was ultimately fired, but doctors could find nothing wrong with her. Her boss described her as painfully introverted and that she would cry if anything upset her. He described her as a sweet kid but really mixed up. Michelle hitchhiked around town during the day. She had been warned by her mother not to hitchhike, but did not listen. Her mother later said, quote, "Yes, she could have gotten into a car with a stranger. I just don't know." Close quote. The last time Michelle's mother, Jeanette, saw her daughter was on December 30th, 1975, when she and her husband drove Joanna, Michelle's sister, back to college. Michelle had changed lately, her mother said, playing hooky and flunking out of high school. She could not explain the change in her daughter. Michelle was last seen by friends on December 30th when she boarded a local bus after telling her friends that she planned to meet a visiting Canadian friend on South Atlantic Boulevard 2 hours later. She boarded the bus at 1 p.m. and her friends never saw her again. However, Michelle called an old boyfriend on New Year's Day to apologize for breaking a New Year's Eve date. She did not say where she was calling from, but seemed to be in good spirits, he said. Michelle's body was discovered on January 10, 1976, floating face down in the Snake Creek Canal in Pembroke Pines. The canal was less than a mile south of Hollywood Boulevard and west of Flamingo Road. Although she had last been seen on December 30th, 1975, police did not believe that she was killed until January 7th or 8th, 1976. Michelle had been strangled to death with her own purse strap, which was twisted around her throat 12 times. A scarf was tied in 2 knots around her neck. However, she was fully clothed, wearing a cotton, dark blue shirt and blue jeans, but no socks or shoes. She had a thin bracelet on her right arm and some rings in her front pocket. She was identified by the rings in the pockets of her jeans, as well as a bracelet and a small gold chain around her neck. Her father identified this as jewelry that she had owned. Dr. Abdullah Fattah, the Broward County medical examiner, stated that Michelle had been dead 2 or 3 days when she was found. She had died of strangulation, but had not been sexually assaulted. It was unclear if she had been murdered at the canal or had merely been dumped there. There was a service road near the canal, but it was somewhat isolated and difficult to reach the canal bank. The area was described as wooded and separated by the road from a gully. Interestingly, Michelle's wallet had been found a few days earlier, on January 3rd, 1976, about a mile and a half away from where the body was discovered. The wallet was discovered by an off-duty Pembroke Pines policeman who found the wallet, and police speculated that there may have been a robbery. Michelle was the 9th girl found murdered in a canal in the past 11 months in South Florida. Police said there was a possibility of connecting her to the other murders. Michelle's mother appealed for information that would fill in the large unexplained gaps in the events that led to Michelle's disappearance and death. Her mother wanted to know what had happened in the days between when she went missing on December 30th, 1975, and when she was killed in early 1976. A reward was offered, but the case was never solved. Michelle's mother was also mystified by the fact that some of the rings were taken from Michelle's pocket. According to her mother, she never took those rings off that her father gave her, and she could not explain why they were in her pocket. Michelle was also missing a gold chain from her neck which held a Star of David, an Italian good luck charm, and her zodiac symbol, which was Libra. Also missing was a silver chain and a pair of gold earrings. Like Elise Rapp and Ronnie Gorlin, Michelle was Jewish. No arrests were ever made. If you're interested in this story, please be sure to check out my book, The Flat Tire Murders, Unsolved Crimes of a South Florida Serial Killer, published by McFarland and Company. The book is available on Amazon and at booksellers. If you have any comments or questions about this podcast or these cases, please leave them below. If you are interested in this subject, please subscribe and like. Again, thank you for listening.